And I think there are a lot of people who will look at this conversation tonight and say there are some people who are, you know, the wailing and gnashing of teeth at the idea that Atlanta may have a white mayor, and they would say, hey, if you have this conversation on the other side of it, and people were saying, oh, what if we end up with a black mayor, that would be considered a racist.
They've been known for violent rallies, calling for the death of police, and now they're taking on Christmas because apparently it's too white.
We have no idea why it happened, and so hopefully the investigation will lead to some answers.
Since the beginning of America, with deep-seated roots in slavery and segregation and Jim Crow and everything else, so it's really not just
The Black Lives Matter planning to take down, quote, white capitalism by boycotting white-owned businesses through the holidays.
Very shocked or very surprised that this happened here and also happened at the other churches as well.
And it's not okay for white people to celebrate?
It's not the same conversation. That's
yeah, this is an anti-white message. You might as well call it a racist message. It's not for the benefit of the community.
It's not the same conversation.
Damn!
Now YouTube censored. Now YouTube censored.
I'm mad as hell right now. Yes, I am.
Viewer discretion is advised. Mama Black.
This program contains language and sequences some viewers may find disturbing.
A lot of people weighing on that, but Stan, can I just talk directly to Stan tonight? Hey Stan, it's raining outside. Would you prefer that we don't talk about that either? I mean, come on, Stan. That's what people are talking about around the dinner table, in a lot of homes, in the diners. Race is something that it's okay to discuss.
Very shocked or very surprised that this happened here and also happened at the other churches as well. Because places of worship are supposed to be sacred places. So it's very shocking and disturbing. Right here on this side, there was a large hole about this size from a rock being thrown in the window, and it shattered. And because of the wind and because of the door closing, very tiny fragments would come down on the ground. So from the video recording that we have, the alleged suspect threw a rock and hit the window and then threw the rock on the ground over
A Midtown neighborhood is vowing to clean up a beloved park after it was covered in graffiti. WMC Action News 5's Janice Broach shows you the mess vandals left behind and the spelling mistake that stands out.
This is terrible.
This graffiti on playground equipment and a building at Williamson Park in Midtown. Gigi Wolf lives right across the street from the park that is a somewhat hidden gem nestled between houses, a well-maintained park with newly planted trees.
This is a wonderful park. People come here and exercise daily. Kids play on the playground. I've seen schools come here and have like a little scrimmage of football.
The graffiti is primarily on the jungle gym with messages on a slide like LOL white boy. Chris is written on one side of the slide.
They've been known for violent rallies, calling for the death of police, and now they're taking on Christmas because apparently it's too white. The Black Lives Matter planning to take down, quote, white capitalism by boycotting white-owned businesses through the holidays. We're here to weigh in. Host on the Blaze TV is Lawrence Jones. Thank you so much for joining us, Lawrence. We always love having you here with us.
Good morning, my friend.
So before we start, let's take a look at this tweet. This came from Black Lives Matter. It says, we're dreaming of a hashtag Black Christmas where folks withholding dollars from white capitalism and use resources to hashtag build black community. Instead of spending, donate to a black organization as a holiday gift for your loved ones or hashtag buy black. What do you think?
This is a political stunt. Look, I'm all for investing into my community. That means black businesses, black banks. But that's not what Black Lives Matter is doing. I mean, I was there in Ferguson when they burnt down black businesses. I've been involved in the movement where they support the Democratic Party, which targets small black businesses and black banks. So this is more of a political agenda, not really trying to benefit the community.
Police officer is apologizing after a controversial encounter with a group of teenagers. One of them recorded it. The officer is seen telling them they're being questioned because they are white. NBC5's Katie Kim has the story.
What am I doing?
Be hard with me. Go ahead.
What am I doing wrong?
You think you're a tough guy?
Inappropriate and unprofessional. That's how Lake Villa police are describing this incident with one of their detectives and a group of teens. Desi Bazak says she was leaving a local pawn shop Monday when Detective Gomez confronted her friends.
I was yelled at to sit down. I said, "What's the reasoning?" He told me sit down or I could turn around and be arrested.
Police say Gomez was conducting a theft investigation and questioning one of the teens. One was also charged for giving cops a fake name. But when the others asked why they were also being detained, Gomez responded this way.
Is that baggy pants on?
Because you're white.
Damn, that's
Wow. Because we're white. Okay. I was speechless. Like, I wasn't comprehending what he actually said.
First of all, it is not up to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi did not elect the congressman, and she sure as hell won't be the one to tell the congressman to leave. That decision will be completely up to the congressman. There are, to my count, 5 of these allegations against Al Franken. There are 3 or 4 against the congressman. At the end of the day, I would suspect that Nancy Pelosi is going to have to explain what is the discernible difference between Al Franken and John Conyers.
And I think there are a lot of people who will look at this conversation tonight and say there are some people who are, you know, the wailing and gnashing of teeth at the idea that Atlanta may have a white mayor, and they would say, if you had this conversation on the other side of it, and people were saying, oh, what if we end up with a black mayor, that would be considered a racist conversation. So I think we're hearing from a lot of people who feel that way too.
Two different things. Because,
I don't think they're two different things at all. It's exactly the same thing.
Because from the beginning of time, you have had more, well, in America.
Okay,
in
America, but now that's not the beginning of time.
Okay, well, come on. Let's talk about that. Let me finish, okay? Since the beginning of America, we have deep-seated roots in slavery and segregation and Jim Crow and everything else, so it's really not the same thing. It's okay for black people to celebrate that culture.
And it's okay.
And be proud of it.
Yes,
and that's
but
not the same.
And it's not okay for white
same.
people to celebrate?
It's not the same conversation. That's a pivot right there.
And I think that, I think that's why people think on one end it's racist and on the other end it's not.
He's giving us a hard rap because this could go on all night. It goes on behind the scenes all the time. Rashad, you're going to stick around.
We have no idea why it happened, and so hopefully the investigation will lead to some answers.
Shall we find out?
The least offensive piece of graffiti on this jungle gym is on the tic-tac-toe blocks. Take a look down. The O is now a face. The most offensive graffiti is on the back side of the park, on the back of a garage. It reads, "Slut Ho." Apparently, the hooligan who wrote this didn't know that HOE is actually a garden tool.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah.
Randy Rhodes owns the garage with the offending graffiti. He is renovating his house.
We're going to put some primer on it, some paint, something. It's covered up.
And that includes the playground equipment. The graffiti is just not something neighbors want to have to deal with.
It sucks, but it is what it is.
That was our Janice Broach reporting. The graffiti is at Williamson Park. It was reported to the city's 311 complaint system, but residents may go ahead and clean it up themselves.
Yeah, so you don't think that it's a goal of, turning around poverty, supporting their communities? That's one thing, supporting your own communities, but this is something entirely different.
Yeah, this is an anti-white message. You might as well call it a racist message. It's not for the benefit of the community. There are plenty of days within the year that they could be actually working within the community for the betterment of the community, but they're using this for some type of stunt as a part of the resistance. Like I said, Heather, I support black banks. I support black businesses. As a matter of fact, I make it a point to go in my community and make sure I can contribute to those businesses. But historically, Black Lives Matter has not been supportive of those businesses. As a matter of fact, they continue to support the Democratic Party, which makes policies harsh and worse for black small businesses.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem to be what they think. Here's a website quote from them. It says, quote, Donald Trump embodies white capitalism. If you are anti-Trump, you should hold back your resources from him and the like. But the Democratic Party doesn't do black communities any favors.
That is such BS, Heather. I'm sorry. Black unemployment was double the national average under President Barack Obama. Right now, we have black unemployment that is at a 20-year low right now. Black businesses are soaring right now under President Trump. So this whole notion that under President Trump, under the Republican leadership, that black lives are worse is just simply not true. You look at the stats and they suggest a different story than what BLM is suggesting right now.
Lawrence, I just want to ask you, what's it going to take to bring people together? Because it seems like there's such a racial divide. It seems like it built during the Obama administration, and now we have all this going on. Christmas time, the holidays, it's supposed to be a time to bring people together. What can we possibly do? I mean, this by Black Lives Matter isn't going to help the situation.
Well, I'm a believer, Heather, and I thought that Christ would be the one thing that can bring us together, because that's what we really celebrate with Christmas. But it seems like that people have gone to their perspective corners, and they don't even want to come and talk with family. We see families divided right now.
Right.
Look, I think this nation needs to turn back to God, and that takes prayer and humility, and for us to come together. No matter if we disagree on politics, at least we can respect each other as human beings.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Lawrence. We really appreciate it.
I was outraged. I was very upset.
Desi's mother says she had just called the police chief to complain about Detective Gomez on another matter. She admits one of the teens was being extremely rude, but she says the cops' comments were uncalled for.
Because they're white, they have drugs on them, and I think that was the main concern and problem, which made the kids riled up and got them all upset.
Police say Gomez has been disciplined, the chief releasing this statement. Detective Gomez admitted his words were poorly chosen and insensitive, and he immediately regretted what he said. The Lake Villa Police Department does not condone this type of behavior of its officers. He adds, I apologize to anyone who may have been offended by what is depicted on this video. This occurred on my watch, and I assume full responsibility.
My biggest concern is my children's safety, and we should have safety and feel safe with the law, and unfortunately they cannot.
Katie Kim, NBC 5.
And as always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Also follow us on the usual media for more interesting information like this.
Fight their asses.